In music theory, the term interval is used to describe the distance between two notes, in the same way that we say inch, foot, mile, light year to measure two different objects, the distance. In Western music, our entire system of harmony is based upon the interval and a system known as equal temperament. It's a calibration system that was developed a few hundred years ago in which the octave, which may be defined as two notes, one of which is twice the radio frequency of the other, is divided into 12 equally spaced semitones, also known as half steps. These are the equivalent of one fret on a guitar. For example, our tuning note A440 hertz, that's twice the frequency of A220 hertz, which is twice the frequency of A110 hertz, and then A880 hertz. So in this lesson, I'm going to give you a comprehensive primer on the study of intervals. And it may not make you a better guitar player directly, but indirectly, you'll be a more enlightened and informed musician, player, arranger, composer, and teacher. So here we go. The term diatonic means scale-based. So diatonic intervals are intervals that live within or are native to a scale. Due to its simplicity and user-friendliness, we're going to use the C major scale, which is made up of 7 different natural notes. I say natural because they have no sharps or flats in their name. We're going to use that as a starting point in our study of intervals. Here's the C major scale played entirely on one string. I'm going to play up and down the A string, which offers a good number line type of view and perspective to begin our study. Just like when we learned math in grade school, we did a number line. Okay, so here's the C major scale. So the notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We can assign a number to each one of those notes, and these are called scale degrees. So it's 1 or root, 2 is the second, 3 is the third, 4 is the fourth, 5, 6, 7, and you can call this 1 or 8, because sometimes you want to keep going 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to do that later when we look at intervals that are used to build chords. So the standard method of identifying intervals is based on the major scale and its degrees, even when applied to other different scales, for which certain degrees and intervals are altered. And it works the same way no matter what key you're in. So your job as a student of music and a guitar is to take the information I'm showing you here and transpose it to other keys. Okay, another thing with the major scale, we have whole steps and half steps. So between C and D, or 1 and 2, is a whole step. A whole step is equal to 2 frets on a guitar. So we have whole step, another whole step, and then, so that's between 1, 2, and 3, but then between 3 and 4 is only a half step, which is 1 fret. And then 4 and 5 is 2 frets, a whole step. 5 and 6 is a whole step. 6 and 7 is a whole step. 7 and 8, or 7 and 1, is only a half step. So your half steps fall between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. This holds true in any key. Say if you're playing in the key of E, you'd be, there's your half step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It falls there. Now here are the same notes of the C major scale again, played in the same way, up and down the A string, but now we're going to relate each different scale degree to the C root note and identify the relationship as an interval. So we have C, D, C. That's a major second. Okay, that's between scale degrees 1 and 2. And if we go, that's called a major third because we're going from 1, 2, 3, but we're just going 1, 3, 1. Notice that is 4 frets, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we go 1, 4, so we're walking up the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, that's called a perfect fourth. If we go 1, 5, 1, that's called a perfect fifth. And you can see the pattern here, right? 1, 6, 1, that's C to A, that's called a major sixth. And then 1, 7, 1, that's called a major seventh interval. And then finally we have between 1 and 8, that's called a perfect octave. Now you could do the same thing going in reverse. It's a little trickier mentally to keep track of because you could start on the root and we're going down, but we're going against the ordering of the numbers. You know, the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So starting on the octave C root, that's called a minor second interval, which is equivalent to 1 fret, or a semitone. And then that's called a minor third interval. So it's 3 frets is a minor third. And then that's a perfect fourth, in the same way that this was a perfect fourth. Perfect fourth is always 5 frets on the same string. And then if we go, that's a perfect fifth. That's 7 frets. It's always going to be 7 frets. And then that's a minor sixth interval. That's a minor seventh interval, which is 10 frets. And then, again, the perfect octave, which is always going to be 12 frets. I'm now going to play the C major scale again, but this time I'm going to stay down in first position, and I'm going to utilize all 6 strings so that we can hear the 2 notes that comprise each interval, the C root note and some other note, sounded together as a harmonic interval, as opposed to the melodic intervals, which we just played up and down 1 string. And you'll notice that we're going to go above the number 8 all the way up to 13. These are called octave plus intervals, and they're used for building what are known as upper structure chords, and all those fancy sounding jazz chords like C9, A minor 11, and F13. So here's the C major scale played down in first position. All right, those are the same notes we just played. Notice the tone is a lot different, by the way, right? Because we're using the different strings. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, or 8. And then you can go 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so those notes are also known as the octave root. You can call that 1 again. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you can just keep going with the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, now I'm going to play those intervals together with the root, so you're going to hear what they sound like. You could play the C note here, and this is called a perfect unison. I wouldn't expect you to be able to do this. This is a big stretch. Slightly out of tune, but here it is. Okay, that's called a perfect unison, when you have 2 people playing together or singing together, and it creates a chorus effect, because typically you can't get it exactly in tune. And then now I'm playing 1 and 2 together. That's a major second, and it sounds kind of jarring. Almost sounds like a car horn, right? I think they do that on purpose. And then you have major third. That sounds pleasing. That's C and E. That's 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to play a perfect fourth. That's C and F played together. And then a perfect fifth is C and G. I'm using hybrid picking here, or you could use finger picking. That's the same as this. Played together, forms a harmonic interval. And then a major sixth, C and A. Major seventh is, that sounds a little odd, but when you put it in a C major 7 chord, oh, it sounds pretty. And then a perfect octave. C and C together. Now, going beyond the octave, that's called a major ninth, because remember we walked up the scale, we kept adding the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you play those 2 notes together, that's a major ninth interval. And then you play these 2 together, that's a major 10th interval. That's a perfect 11th, that's a perfect 12th, and then that's a major 13th interval. Now you could do the same thing, reckoning the intervals below the root note. So we're going to start here on a C, and we're going to do the perfect unison thing again. C and C, just like we did this. Now we're going to walk down the scale. That's called a minor second. That's even more jarring than a major second. 2 notes right next to each other, played together. If you want to like annoy people, play that. And then a minor third, that sounds much more pleasing, right? So we're going down to the 7th. We have the root, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So minor second, that's B and C. Minor third is A and C. That's a perfect fourth, that's G and C. That's a perfect fifth, F and C. A minor sixth, E and C. A minor seventh, D and C. And perfect octave again. Now we can keep going down. Ooh, that sounds kind of harsh, right? That's called a minor ninth interval. It's an octave plus a half step, right? Because B to B would be an octave. You add a half step to the octave and you get a minor ninth. And then A and C, that sounds kind of nice. That's called a minor 10th interval. And then perfect 11th, perfect 12th, minor 13th interval.